Hey everybody, my name is Jordan. Welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for watching today. I have got a review that I promised about a year ago when I did an unboxing on this amplifier. This is the Blackstar Debut 50, and I should have done this review a long time ago, but I got really self-conscious about not being an electric guitar player after playing with this for a little bit. And honestly, at the time, I didn't really understand how to set up the amplifier to get good sound out of it. So I really fell out of love with the amplifier for a little while. And as the winter has gone on and I have kind of relit that fire to learn how to play electric guitar, I decided to pull it out and start giving it another shot. And so we're going to do the review now that I've had a little chance to get reacquainted with the amplifier and kind of, make some discernment and some decisions about what I do and don't like about this amplifier. So everything that I'm going to tell you today, I should just let you know up front. I'm an acoustic guitar player. I am not an electric player. So my style is going to be a little bit more like what I would play on an acoustic guitar, and just the way that I understand things, because I've been playing acoustic for so long, I'm really just I'm in the journey of learning how to play electric guitar. So this is me just giving you my thoughts and opinions the best I can about this amplifier. Let's get into it. So the first thing I want to share with you guys is the instructions that came with it. I haven't actually opened these in the year that I've had it. Comes with a Blackstar sticker and the Blackstar VIP access, which I don't really know what that is because, like I say, I haven't actually opened the package, but it's clear plastic, so you can see that it really does have good information on how to set the amp up, and it's got all the controls labeled here, what they do. And on the back here, something that I thought was really nice and interesting is it's got your suggested settings right here, which I haven't looked over those at all. But even more interesting and important, it's got get connected here under this section. It's got the inputs and outputs on the back of the amplifier, so you can actually see what this amplifier is capable of. And I'll just read them a little bit. Line in and line out headphones, so you can connect this to like your external speakers. You can connect it to your headphones, or you can run it into an interface to do recording, which is super cool. That's a really great feature. It's got a line in for your your laptop or your phone or whatever. It's got an effects loop, which I personally have never used. It has a foot switch that you can get for this amplifier and use to switch between the clean and the overdrive channels, which is a super great thing in my opinion. But once again, haven't bought that, so haven't used it. Something else I should mention about the amplifier, it claims to have two different sounds. It claims to have an American and a British, which is the ISF dial, which is in between the reverb and the treble on your EQ. So I don't mess with that. I set it all the way to the left and I leave it there because I personally think the amplifier sounds better all the way to the left and left there. So I'm going to go through some tones with you guys. I've got, for the guitar that I'm going to be using today, this is a homemade hybrid guitar. So a set bridge, so it's not intonated perfectly. Single Seymour Duncan mini humbucker. So this is more of like a rock and roll type guitar. But it also, kind of does the acoustic thing when it's plugged in because it's got a piezo pickup. So it sounds about as good as every other, less than $1,000 acoustic guitar that's on the market. As far as, the piezo sound goes, it's nothing special, but it's fine. We're not going to be using the piezo, just the mini humbucker today. And I've got a capo on because Keith Urban does use a capo. And so if you're mad about that, go be mad at Keith Urban first, because I don't think he can. Anyways, we're going to start on the clean channel. For a long time, I had an issue with the clean channel because it by itself, it's just very uninspiring. So I'm going to make sure all my reverb and everything is off. I'm set up with the mid scooped just a little bit, and I'll hit that clean bright switch in a minute. I'm going to turn the volume up to about half. little bit more. Let's hit that clean bright. So, I don't know, that's kind of a take it or leave it feature for me. I could see some scenarios where I might use this to get a little bit more of a boost on the high end, because that's, to me, what it feels like it does is mostly just boost the high end, boost the treble a little bit. So, not necessarily a bad setting. I wouldn't say it's the most useful. Well, I've got it on clean. Let's go through the reverbs a little bit. It's got plate and hall. So we're going to start on the plate because that's my least favorite reverb. So nothing. Roll that into about 50%. Sorry about that clicking. That's a grounding issue I've got in my guitar I need to fix. All the way up on the reverb. That's your plate reverb. I'm going to turn it back down to about half. Hall reverb here. All the way up on the hall reverb. So like I say, not an electric guitar player, but I hope that kind of gives you an idea of what the hall and the plate, man, I keep stuttering on that one. Personally, my opinion, I don't like either of the reverbs, not that much. By themselves, especially not turned way up. How I like to use the reverbs, and I saw this on some other reviews of this amplifier that I watched ahead of time. This amplifier is supposed to take pedals really well. That's what everybody said about it. So I've got, and I need to change the settings here because I was just fooling around on something else. I've got a JHS Octave Reverb, which is a really cool pedal. I really enjoy this pedal. This is my favorite pedal. I haven't owned a ton of pedals, but this is my favorite one so far that I've ever owned. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the octave completely off and turn the verb and the decay up to about 50%. Turn that on, and I've got the reverb down at about half on the amplifier. So it just feels much more natural when I add a pedal and stack it on top of the reverb a little bit. So to me, that's the best way to use the reverb on the amplifier, is just as a second layer to give a little bit more presence, I think is the word. Just make the sound a little bit bigger, a little fuller. So I really enjoy using the reverb on the amplifier like that, but just straight up as reverb, I don't like it. I just don't. And it's not for me. It might be for somebody else. That's just a personal opinion. So with that, let's add a little bit of delay. Just fool around on the clean channel a little bit more before we swap. So I don't know, the clean channel doesn't do too much for me until I really start adding effects in. So like if I turn the octave up a little bit, turn the decay up, the verb up on my octave reverb, and this is a pretty impressive pedal. You get a lot of sound out of it. Reverb on the amplifier is still at about 50%. Set that right at 50%. So that's how I prefer to use the amplifier, is just turn effects way up on the clean channel and go from there. So with that, let's swap over to the mean channel, the overdrive channel. Now, I'm going to turn pedals off and just show you guys kind of what this sounds like. I don't even have the gain up at a quarter volume, okay? Or the gain up at a quarter of the drive that it can produce. So I'll turn it up a little bit progressively as we go. I've got the volume set at about 50% and the gain, well, we'll turn that up to about 9 o'clock there on the amplifier. Oh, you know what? I'm going to scoop the mid mid forward just a little bit. So that's like the lowest you can still get decent volume out of the overdrive channel and still have gain. So this amp can run pretty hot. So let's turn it up to about 50% gain. I'm going to turn the volume down a little bit because otherwise it's overwhelming. Back up. Down a little bit more and go up to about 3/4. the overdrive channel is impressive to say the least. I'm going to turn that back down because I'm getting a lot of static. So I love running the overdrive channel at about 50% volume, and then, you know, maybe a quarter of its actual power. It's much more usable, but you can really turn it up and rock out. So that's really cool. I do really appreciate that about the amplifier. I mean, it's just, that I just love, because I'm not good at it, but I love to just hit power chords and just kind of rock out for a bit. It's a lot of fun. So I don't know, to me that brings the enjoyment level of the amplifier up quite a bit. For the sake of demonstration, I'm going to go back to the clean channel and I'll show you what the ISF does. This is no reverb, nothing. I'm going to scoop the mid back out because we're on the clean channel. And then we're going to turn the clean up to about a little past 50%. So that's all the way to the left. 50% of the ISF. And all the way to the other side. So to me, it just kind of makes the amplifier kind of flubby sounding, and I just don't like that. So overdrive channel, for the sake of, you know, argument, once again, mid forward. You know what, let's go back to where we were to start with. All the way back on the left, like we were when we did the other sound demos. 50% of the ISF. All the way. So yeah, I don't get anything out of it. It sounds kind of cool on the overdrive channel, but I don't think it sounds any better, you know, all the way to the right than it does all the way to the left. So that's my personal opinion. That pretty much sums up the amplifier. There's all sorts of other stuff you can do with it, like I say, with all the in and outputs on the back. So you could run backing tracks into it if you wanted. You can run it out into an interface to record, which is super cool. The effects loop, like I say, I never used that, so I'm not going to speak to that. The amp overall, as far as just a beginner amp, it's simple to use. It sounds decent. It really is a good pedal platform. I wouldn't say it's a great sounding amplifier as far as gigging out with this amplifier. I don't know because I never have, so I'm not going to speak to that. But I think you could. I don't know if you would want to. One thing I will say, and I'm not sure, like I say, my guitar has a grounding issue that I need to get sorted out, and I just haven't pulled it apart and picked at the wiring in a couple years. So I don't know if it's just my guitar, but especially on the overdrive channel, I get a lot of static through the amplifier just with, you know, so volume on my guitar is completely down, and just based on the volume of the dials, and even when you turn it up to 50 watts, I don't know if you guys can hear that or not. Sounds like a waterfall, honestly. It's pretty staticky on the overdrive channel. So I don't know if you'd want to take this out and gig with it. I don't know if that's just my amplifier, if that's, you know, all of them. overall, I do think it's a pretty decent amp for the money. Like I think if you're just wanting to learn electric guitar like I am, I think this is a fine setup to do it on. I think you can get a lot of tones out of it with a little bit of adjusting everything and with just playing with the dials, playing with pedals, playing with your volume and tone on your guitar a little bit. You can still get a lot out of the amplifier, and that's what I think everybody misses with these I'm not super tech savvy, so I've never, been into like the head rushes and the quad cortex and stuff like that. I know about them, but I've never used them. I don't know how to use them. They just have too many settings for me, and I can get a lot out of a couple of pedals and out of just being careful with how I play and, how I set my amplifier. And for me, that's enough. I don't want thousands of options. I want 5 to 10 really good options, and that's all I want. So at some point I'll buy an overdrive pedal and I'll dial in some really, light overdriven tones on the clean channel. And I think that will really scratch that itch I have for lower gain out of this amplifier. Other than that, I think it's a good amplifier. I think it's decent. I wouldn't say it's great, but I think it's good. So that's about the best. Nobody's paying me for this review. So all I've got is you guys in the comments and me, myself, and I just here messing with the amplifier. So I don't know. Let me know what you think. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this demo, and I've got a little outro for you guys. So if you guys are not subscribed, I would love it if you did subscribe to the channel. I put content like this out every now and again, and just trying to enjoy the ride here. So hope you guys will do the same. If you guys are interested in checking out my music, down in the description, I'll have a link to Spotify, and yeah, hope you guys have a good one. We'll see you later.